Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope all are good and safe. So today's session will be on basic nursing skills. So let's start the session. Okay. Um, so let's start. So today we will be discussing about very familiar topics for us. That's basic nursing care. And in this session, I will be mostly explaining the palliative care aspect of the basic nursing care. So we will be covering oral care, eye, ear, nose care, nail care, perineal care, NG tube care, hair care, bladder and bowel care, bed bath, bed care, exercise, ambulation, nutrition and hydration, and bed making. So if you are having any doubt while the session, you can either put it in the chat or we can later on discuss. Okay. So moving to oral care. So as you know, all know that mouth is an excellent incubator for growth of bacteria. The main objectives of the oral care are to promote good oral hygiene, to promote comfort, to promote appetite, to prevent infection, and to prevent and treat dryness and halitosis. So in palliative care settings, mainly these patients need mouth care, but every patient needs mouth care, but we have to concentrate these patients also. Okay, so let's see. So patients who need mouth care are terminally ill patient, post-operative patients, patients with infections and disease of mouth, patients on nasogastric tube feeding, unconscious patient, patients breathing through mouth. So before cleaning or before the oral care, we have to do the basic assessment. So in that, we have to look for any cracked lips, dry or coated tongue, white curdy-like patches, ulcers in the mouth, any redness or bleeding, any other medication history, because as you all know that some medication can cause dry mouth, no? Then any pain in the mouth, dysphagia, change in taste of foods, any difficult in chewing, anorexia, unpleasant smell, treatment history. Okay. So we'll see what are the common oral problems in palliative care settings. There will be, mostly we can see dry mouth. There will be painful mouth if there is any kind of ulcer in the mouth or tumors. Then halitosis, very common. Candidiasis is another common thing we will see in the palliative care setting. Then alternation in taste, excessive salivation, especially during terminally ill patients. So we'll see what are the common oral problems. So in this picture, we can see the oral candidiasis. So here we can see it in the tongue and here in the palate. Okay. So this will be looking like a curdy white patch, also known as oral thrush. These are very common in patients who are immunosuppressant, like the patient who are taking treatment for cancer, that is chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and patient with any AIDS or other immune-related disease. Okay. Next, common oral problems are xerostomia and halitosis. I think this will be familiar for you. Then you can see oral mucositis and stomatitis. Next, we can use solutions for mouth care. And I think in hospital setting we might be mostly using mouthwash and all, but when we go for a home care or home setting, the patient will be poor and they won't be like, they won't be so wealthy, so they can use this salt water, that is normal saline, that is homemade normal saline solution. For that we have to teach them. While teaching, you have to tell how to prepare a saline solution. So if you're going to take a 500 ml liter of water, means you can add 1 teaspoon of common salt. So while boiling it, you have to add the salt, and it should be diluted nicely, and you can keep it cool and use it as a mouthwash for 24 hours. And even in between each meals, you can take that solution as a mouthwash. Then other option is soda bicarb. So soda bicarb solution, how we are preparing means, you can take 500 ml of boiled water and 1/4 of teaspoon of baking soda and mix it and give to the patient for mouthwash. So better it is always normal saline, because in everyone's home there will be salt. So they can use that and do the oral care. Then these are the things which we have to educate them. The first thing is brush the very common, brush the teeth twice a day. So it is better to use soft toothbrush for that. Then if the patient is able to wash himself, means they can use toothpaste. And then also make sure that the complete toothpaste is taken out from the mouth, because otherwise it will cause dryness. Then rinse the mouth with warm saline, that is boiled cool or soda bicarb solution. Then also in tongue, it should be brushed with soft toothbrush. Then ask the patient to take plenty of fluids, and you can suggest, if there is no mouth ulcer and other dry other problems, means you can suggest them to have pineapples, which contain a mouth cleansing enzyme, and it will help for salivary stimulation. Okay. Then if there is any dangerous, means ask the patient to remove it at the night. Then I'm not going to the procedure. So I think as you all know about the oral care procedure in the normal patient. So you can assist them, or you can tell the caregiver to how to uh, practice it in the home setting. So we will be focusing mainly on a dependent patient, that is especially the unconscious and the conscious, but completely bedridden. So in hospital setting, we will be using artery fossa, bowel, tank depressor, and all the listed items. But in home care setting, the situation is very different. There we won't be getting artery fossa, tongue depressor, and all. So we can suggest them, instead of instead of the cotton uh, roll, we can suggest cotton cloth. If they get gauze piece, means well. And we can ask, instead of home normal saline, we can ask them to prepare a homemade saline. Then instead of the brush, we can tell to use spoon and ice cream sticks. Then small Macintosh mostly it will be available in the patient's setting, like some kind of rubber sheet, and face towel. Of course, you can tell to, like, you can ask the patient caregiver to prepare all these things. So as we do in the procedure, same like the unconscious patient, we can do the procedure here. So the difference is you can see a spoon wrapped here. So same like you can take a cotton cloth and you can hold this part in your hand. I'm sorry. Okay. Hold this part in your hand and the other uh, and the long end, no, you can wrap it with gauze or cotton roll. Then you can start cleaning the patient, and you may need 2 spoons and some extra cotton pieces. Always tell the caregiver to address them and to explain the procedure. Even though it is oral care, you have to give privacy. You have to always respect the privacy of patient. Give semi-Fowler's position and her head turned towards the side. And under the head, you can place a Macintosh. And then you can, if there is anybody there, means you can always ask help. Then ask the cotton balls in the normal saline solution and squeeze it nicely. And before that, you can keep one of the teaspoon in between the teeth. So patient will gently open his mouth, and you can take that, you can keep it and start doing cleaning. So you can see in the image how they are cleaning. So if there is no spoon, means they can also use ice cream stick, but it should be a little hard, not a soft one. So there will be chances of breaking the spatula or that ice cream stick. So always before cleaning the mouth, you have to squeeze nicely, or else the excess water will go to the lungs and aspiration will be there. Then clean teeth from incisors to molar using up and down movements from gums to crown. Then clean oral cavity from proximal to distal area using 1 cotton ball for each stroke. So you can, in between the cleaning time, you can change that cotton roll. Then after the cleaning, you have to check out for all the, you have to take out all the excess water. And once you're finished with the procedure, you can lubricate lip with any, like if there is no Vaseline, means you can also apply oil like coconut oil. And if there is Vaseline or even Bioline, means ask them to apply that. It will prevent from lip dryness. And if you're in a hospital setting, you can document the time and solution used, condition of the oral cavity, assessment report, everything. And if you notice any abnormalities also, you can document. And documentation is very important. And also the patient response also. Some may tell that I don't need oral care now. So in that case, you can
हाँ सर
so in that case, you can record that also. Patient is not willing to do the oral care or something like that. Okay. So you can see in the PPT, these are the common lubricators used for mouth, that is lips. So you can use any of these things. So let's see with the eye care. So mainly we are doing eye care for to relieve from pain and discomfort. It also prevent from infection and other, prevent or treat injury to the eyes, and also detect disease at the early stage. Eye care will be helpful. So so you have to use, always provide privacy, explain procedure to the patient. Your hand should be washed nicely, or else it will cause cross infection. And while cleaning the eyelids, you always use wet swabs. You can dip it in the normal saline or distilled water. In home care setting, you can ask the patient to dip it in the homemade saline or normal cooled water. Then wipe the lids from inner canthus to outer canthus. Use one swab for one stroke and document it. If the caregiver is doing the procedure, means no need. Then care of nose and ear. So this requires minimal care in the daily life. Assistance is needed to remove the secretion from the nostrils in some of the patients with a wet washcloth or cotton applicator. So what you have to do is you can wet a cotton applicator or a cloth in home care setting and squeeze it nicely and uh, just moist moisten the cloth. You can keep it and clean it in the nostril. You should not insert any cotton applicator inside the nose. If there is any bleeding or any discharge, you can always go and consult to ENTs. And the collection of wax in the ear may cause hearing problem. Liquid paraffin or vegetable oil can be instilled and then it is easy to remove. So in this case, we will not suggest them to do or apply liquid paraffin or vegetable oil. We can ask them to clean the outer areas, and if there is any impacted wax and any kind of hearing problems, means we can ask them to consult ENT doctors. Then nail care. So the main objective, it prevent from injuries, it prevent from infection, and it will give a neat and clean look to the nails. So as I think I no need to explain this procedure. All are very familiar to this, but you have to carefully cut the free edges of the nail because the, like there is a chance of cutting the skin also. So if the patient is diabetic, means there will be problem. They will get infection and other problems. So please be cautious when we are doing nail care to diabetic and other patients, especially the old age people will have very thick nail. So before the procedure, you have to soak it nicely. And it is also good to do nail care after a sponge bath or or a bathing of the patient. Next, perineal care. So in perineal care, we will be mainly maintaining the perineal hygiene, and mainly we are doing this procedure for prevent the infection. So you can see in the image how the patient is draped. If the patient is in home care setting or in the hospital setting, we have to drape the patient, and always perineum is a private part, so you have to give privacy. And if you are a male nurse and doing female care, means there will be some privacy issue with the patient. So make sure that if the patient is willing to do it or not. If the patient is not willing, don't do it. Wait for the female nurse to come and do it. And in home care setting, you can make, like if you are a female and you are going to do male patient, means you can always ask the caregiver to stand with you, so that it will be, they will feel little comfortable, and also make sure to ensure the privacy. Then procedure. So this procedure is very familiar, and we used to do this. And so mainly perineum should be cleaned after each act of urination and defecation. Maybe it won't be possible in the busy schedule. Even though you can clean it twice a day or once a day. And in home care setting, you can ask the caregiver to clean that area 3 to 4 times and keep it dry. You can suggest, we will be using normal saline or betadine for perineal care, but in home care setting, we can ask them to use soap and water, clean water. Then ask them to clean it from the cleanest area to less cleanest area. The urethral orifice is considered as the cleanest area, and the anal orifice is considered as the least cleanest area. That you all know. So you have to clean for each stroke. You can use a single gauze piece or cotton. Hand should before the procedure, your hands should be clean. So this is about the procedure. Then you have to, while you are cleaning the male urethral part, means you have to retract the foreskin and clean the area. Okay. If the patient is catheterized, means you have to do the perineal care. So same procedure only. The only change will be you have to daily change the adhesive tape, or else it will stick and it will be very looking very nasty there. Then moving to care of nasogastric tube. So there will be patient with NG tube. So for them, the main points you have to remember is while you're feeding them, if they are conscious, means you have to give semi-Fowler's position or Fowler's position before feeding. Then always prevent air entry in the tube by pinching it. Aspirate and make sure that the tube is in the correct place, that is in stomach. If you're in hospital setting, we can go for other method also. But if the patient is at home setting, means you can check, aspirate and check. Always you have to, the aspirated content should not be removed or discarded. It should be injected back inside the stomach itself, or else it will cause electrolyte imbalance. Then food item is thoroughly grinded and filtered. If not, the big particles of the food will obstruct the tube, and we cannot use the same tube, and we need to take it back and insert a new tube. That will be a distress to the patient. Then every 2 hourly, give 200 to 250 ml homemade food. So it is said that any kind of food can be given to the patient. So in some hospital setting, they will be giving only Ensure powder or some other nutritional powders. But if the patient is not affordable and the patient is in home care setting, means you can suggest them whatever is available in their home, they can use it. And even the patient is like patient will need to have some juice or any kind of special food, means you can suggest the patient caregiver that you can give it, but before giving you should nicely grind it and filter it, and after that you have to give. Then another point is while you're aspirating, if you're seeing any food content, means you can you can insert it back and wait for some time and then give, because the food is not digested. That is why the food content is completely seen in that aspirated solution. Then then the other point is even after the feed, you can keep the patient in the same position at least for 30 minutes. Immediately after the feed, you should not like uh, make the patient in supine position. Okay. Then regarding mostly the NG tube will be uh, um, NG tube will be kept near the nostril, or you can even change the position. You can keep the tubes ending and fix it over the right or left side of the forehead so that patient won't feel irritation. So these are the main points in the care of nasogastric tube. Moving to care of hair. Daily brushing and combing of the hair will keep the hair healthy. Like we will be cleaning our hair daily, but in case of patient it won't be possible. So you can either do alternate days hair care, and this hair care will prevent the patient from pediculosis. Even you can use whatever patient is preferring to the hair, especially if the patient is preferring to do shampoo, you can shampoo it, or patient is preferring any oil or any kind of other herbal things, you can use that and clean. So while you're cleaning the hair, you should give a nice massage, and after the cleaning you can take out all the water, and for drying you can split the hair into three parts, and then once the hair is dried nicely, you can braid the hair and give a nice comb and braid the hair. That make the patient feel comfortable. And in home care setting, for hair care, there won't be they can use plastic sheet and they can roll it and make a triangle shape and keep bucket and like just below that, and all the waters, cleaned waters, will be drained into directly that. In hospital setting we will have the all kind of devices, hair care devices will be there, but in home care setting it won't be available, so you can educate the caregiver about that also. And the main point here is sometimes you can see some patients hair completely uh, cut or without the permission of patient won't be liking that. So always if patient is having like if patient can talk or patient is liking that, means you can cut their hair. If they are not willing, means don't do that. It is their autonomy to keep their hair. So you should respect their autonomy. Then bladder care. In the bladder care, main thing is you have to change the catheter 3 weeks to 1 month. Then ask the patient to take 2.5 liters to 3 liters water every day. Then prevention of constipation is very important. If the patient is constipated, means there is a chance of getting UTI. The residual urine will be there and that will cause infection. Then urobag should be always kept below the waist level. Any color change in the urine should be reported. And daily clean below the umbilicus to mid-thigh with soap and water. Clean the catheter with soap and water twice or thrice daily. Do not keep the cap of the urobag open. Urine should not be kept in the bag for more than 3 hours. And if the urobag is half or 3/4 filled, you can discard it. And ask for any history of abdomen pain or any like burning sensation or some kind of itching in that. And you can also watch for the urine cloudiness in the tube. And that's all about the bladder care. Then bowel care. In a bedridden patient, due to lack of exercise, privacy, reduced food intake, medication, etc., causes constipation. In this case, you have to encourage the patient for bowel movement daily. Give adequate time for the bowel movement. You can see many caregivers in the hospital setting, they will be telling that, oh, even ourselves, we won't sometimes give enough time for the patient. So don't do that. The sometimes that change in routine will affect the time. So give them adequate time for it. Then patient should be encouraged to take high fiber diet, adequate fluid intake and laxative, both stimulants and stool softness. Okay. If patient complains of spurious diarrhea, ask the history when it started and before the onset, what was the condition. Here again, you have to do a rectal examination, and if needed, you can give a higher enema or normal enema. And if needed, you can also go for suppository also. So instead of diapers, you can encourage to use newspapers, easy to dispose, cheap and easily available. So in this case, in some village settings, especially in the very rural area, they won't be even willing to afford, or they are very poor, and if the patient is bedridden means they can't afford diapers also. So in that case, they can use any plastic covers or any newspaper, thick newspaper layers. So you can keep it under the patient uh, buttocks area, and after the defecation, uh, you can take it off and tell, uh, like you can suggest the caregiver. So tell them to dispose, and so it is cheaply available. That is why some are recommending it. We in usually don't recommend that. We used to provide adequate diapers for our patients. So it is some in some areas they are practicing like this. That is why we mentioned it. Then ordinary plastic covers cut in triangle shape and keep one or two sheets of paper on that. Tie this on the waist of the patient. So this is how they are preparing it, like a diaper form. They will be keeping all this, and the patient after the defecation, you can easily throw it. Then moving to bed bath. So bathing is very important in maintaining and promoting good hygiene. So the main objectives are to clean from dirt, increase elimination of waste through the skin, stimulate circulation, induce sleep, provide comfort, and it gives a patient a sense of well-being, and also it regulates good body temperature. Then procedure in a simple way to maintain privacy, explain procedure. You should keep all the article needed at your hand, should be at hand and conveniently placed. Temperature, you can use uh, hot water. That is, you can check the water should be adjusted for the comfort of the patient. Always check with your back of the palm. uh, and then keep the patient near to the edge of the bed to avoid overreaching and straining of the back of the caregiver. You can put others, if there is rails present means you can put that. For this side, you have to support the patient and keep near to yourself. Then only small area of the body should be exposed. Here also privacy comes. Bath at a time. Then remove the soap completely from the body to avoid the dryness. Cleaning is done from the cleanest area to the least cleanest area. Example, upper part of the body should be cleaned before the lower parts. Wash the hands and feet by immersing them in basin of water, because it promotes through thorough cleaning of the fingers, nails and toenails. There should a thorough inspection of skin, especially at the back of the body, should be done to find out the early signs of pressure. So while giving sponge bath, you can inspect for any color change of the skin or signs of pressure sore. Okay. If needed, apply moisturizing cream. If there is any presence of redness or anything means, you can apply moisturizing cream. That is, if there is a presence of open wound means, you can uh, no commercialized moisturizing creams, or you can go for Bioline or Vaseline. Then back care. Give special attention to the pressure points. If prone to pressure sore, back care every 2 hours. Wash the back with soap and water. Dry the area by patting and not by rubbing. Massaging help to increase the blood supply to the area and prevent pressure sore. Uh, like in back care, in the nursing college days, we learned about all the methods, and in for educating the patient caregiver, you have to tell the simple massaging technique to them. Then exercise are very important. Active and passive exercise. If the patient is not completely bedridden, you can suggest to do them active exercises, especially the range of motions and all. And if the patient is bedridden completely, means you can help them by doing the range of motion exercises and all. All the joints need physiotherapy. Educate the family the importance of exercise to prevent from joint stiffness. Then lifting, shifting, and transferring the patient, that is basic ambulation. So before shifting the patient, you have to consider the weight of the patient, and always tell them that we are going to help you or lift you and lift you. So if the patient is obese, you can ask for help. Then you have to consider the weight. If the patient is obese, you can ask the patient whether they can, if there is muscle power, means they can little support us, and they can even themselves they can sit or not. If the patient is not confident, means you can ask for help. Then, so in that image, you can see how the person is lifting. You have to keep wheelchair next to the bed of the patient, lock it properly. At the same time, ensure the lock of the bed is also properly done. Then explain the patient, keep your knee in between the knees of patient. Then keep your both arms inside the shoulder armpit of the patient. Lift the patient, then turn the patient and make sit the patient in the wheelchair, and remove your armpits and take off the knee. Then if the patient is having any catheter, means you have to place the catheter properly. Then if there will be a belt, so you can secure that belt over the patient abdomen or chest. Then comfortably place the leg of the patient in that wheelchair step, so that there won't be any food drop. So this is the way you have to lift. Uh, always, always don't do unwanted movements while shifting the patient. If you have any history of backache or any kind of ortho-related issue, please don't go alone for helping. So that will make you sick. Then moving to nutrition and hydration. So this is very important part. So okay, sorry. In every country, food plays a major role. Especially the females of the family will feel that the patient is not taking adequate food, and they think like when you offer food or when you give food, they consider it as a form of love, like sharing love. So you have to explain that when even you can imagine that when you're having any problem, or if you are sick, you won't be able to have that much food, no? So you have to tell them that don't force feed the patient. Whatever they can take, they can take that much only. So don't force feed them, and explain the caregiver that whatever food is locally available, you can give it to the food unless it is restricted. And if the patient is having like if a patient is having nausea and vomiting, especially after chemotherapy and all, means you can ask the caregiver that to stop that. Some people don't like the smell of rice, some may don't like the smell of fish and all. So while cooking, they may feel all the smell. So ask the caregiver to stop that. And you can always give small frequent diet if the patient need. And if the patient is having vomiting history, means mostly some patient we may have the overfeeding history and they will vomit. So ask the giver to don't do that. And same, remember, force feeding induce always vomiting. Then try to focus on what patient is preferring. So as I said, some food order can cause nausea, vomiting to the patient. If so, avoid it, and small frequent diet is always advised. So this is about bed making. This is very familiar, and I know almost all of you will be doing it daily. Even though once the patient is in the hospital, we will take care of them. But when the patient gone to the home, means they will be in the same sheet for weeks and weeks. So you have to educate this also to the caregiver. So in this, you have to show them how to change. If the patient is bedridden, means how to change patient bed if patient is lying on the bed. So you have to demonstrate the caregiver how to do a bed making. Okay. So that sorry in this you can tell them that the importance of bed making. So you can tell them that it will provide comfort, and if there is uh, any wet, that is any wet or soiled linen, means you can take it out and to provide comfort to the patient. Also to maintain a neat appearance and clean environment uh, in near the patient. And also while you are giving the bed making, it will give a good appearance and a good well-being to the patient. Then you have to explain about to give a wrinkle-free bed, and if there is wrinkles, means that will also be a factor of causing bed sore. So you have to explain all this to the caregiver. Okay. So that's all about today's session. Anybody have any doubts? I know these are familiar topics to you, but still, this was a brushing up of all the knowledge had in our nursing life. Um, Anyone have any doubts? Or shall we go to the presentation?
If anybody have that, please unmute yourself and ask questions. Or you can chat. Either you can chat in chat box.
So I think nobody is having any doubts. So let me ask some question. So anybody can explain me about how to prepare homemade saline? Um, so here is a doubt from Asmita ma'am. So is it safe to use chlorhexidine solution or sodium bicarb is better? I think both are actually safe for usage, but when we see the economical and availability, we will suggest them either soda bicarb, better to use normal saline. It is safe. That's why it is available in all the medical stores and even hospital setting. We are using sodium bicarb now. Okay. But the problem is all these have unpleasant taste. Maybe patient won't be liking. So it is good to use normal salt solution, and even like some people will say even you can use normal water for doing the mouth care. But I don't know how much it is useful. But still, in especially when the patient is going for end of life care and all, some will suggest that you can use normal water itself. Okay, so here are answer: 500 ml of water with one spoon. So you have to mention the measurement. It is teaspoon. So Parvati ma'am, okay, 500, correct. Okay. So I think all are clear with that. Okay, that's all. Okay. Is there any other doubt? Okay. Um, so can anybody tell me about when to change catheter in a catheterized patient? So, okay, correct. Okay, if silicone catheter, no, if the patient is on silicone catheter, the literature says you can change it. You can keep the catheter at least 3 months. Like you can change it if the patient is well and affordable means you can change it 2 to 3 months. Ideally, 3 months till 3 months you can keep one catheter silicone. And one more question was there regarding the boiling, like normally 15 to 20 minutes, no, you can, it will take to prepare the normal solution. I mean, so normal saline solution, homemade. Okay, all the answers are right. 3 weeks to 1 month. Okay, fine. Okay. Uh, so here is another question. One of your patient he is in nasogastric tube and he is preferring to have a nice payasam. Kheer. Huh?
Here.
Kheer.
A sweet thing.
Okay,
sweets, like
some sweets.
Liquid.
Sweets. So what you will say? Like what you will advise the caregiver and what you will advise the patient? If the patient can take that sweet, any answers? Is my question clear to all? Give me some answers. Okay. Okay. So the question is, there is a patient who is in nasogastric tube and love to have some sweet liquid food. So, for example, kheer, no?
In Hindi, it is called
Hindi
as
it is
kheer.
kheer.
In South India, we are calling as
Payasam.
payasam, payasa.
Payasam. So, what you will suggest the patient and caregiver? Will you suggest to take that food or you won't suggest it? Sugar levels, if it is normal, we prefer. We can make it very liquid from and give another opinion too. Okay, the answer is you can give the patient what he prefers. If the patient is diabetic only, you can check the sugar level and you can give it. But the thing is, you can always go with the patient, what patient prefers. And as you said that you can give any food to the patient. Before giving, you have to grind it and make it in a liquid form and filter it and give. So as I mentioned in the earlier slide, in the oral care, uh, who needs yeah, sorry, okay, so who needs mouth care? So in that we had mentioned about patient on nasogastric tube feed. So what happened, no? Mostly people who are in nasogastric tube feeding, the caregivers may think that why we need to clean the mouth of the patient. Patient is not taking anything orally, and they will concentrate more on the nasogastric tube feeding. So in this type of cases, if patient is preferring to have something, means you can always take a little bit of what he or she is preferring in your hand and keep it on the tongue, that is over the taste buds of the patient. And you have to tell that, see, I made some payasam or kheer to you, and you can taste it, and you can keep a little bit on the tongue of the patient, so that he will feel the taste. And at the same time, you can tell that, see, I'm going to give you in the tube, and you can nicely give it in the tube itself. And while you give feeding, before and after the feeding, you have to clear the tube with water, drinking water, that is normal water. And the food content should not be visible after the feeding. It should be nicely uh, like removed from the tube into the stomach. Okay. So so other than silicone catheter, what are all the types of catheter you can see commonly in patients, especially in palliative care settings and normally? Any answers? So thanks for all the answers. So other than silicone catheter, we can use latex. Yeah, you mean condom catheter?
Suprapubic catheter.
Yeah, there will be suprapubic catheter, latex catheter, that is rubber catheter. In all the time, we used to have that rubber catheter, and intermittent clean catheterization will be there. So in that case, we will be using, especially in paraplegic patient, we will suggest that they will be trained under a physiatrist or a doctor. They will be doing self intermittent catheterization technique. They will use Nelcath for that, and after each, they can use that single catheter for more than like around 1 week. They can use the part. They after each and every use, they have to clean the catheter with normal running water, and so even they can use little hot water and clean it nicely, and uh, keep it in a clean box container, and close it. And mainly we suggest these types of catheter because the patient may have a lot of privacy issue with carrying the catheter and bag in the public. So we will suggest them, and if the patient is having that sensation, little sensation means, we will suggest them. And mostly they will be doing that self-intermittent catheterization, like 4 to 5 a day, 5 days. And like it is helpful and it is good for them. We have a lot of patients are on self-intermittent catheterization. So that's all about the session. So in case if you have any doubt, means please put it in the chat box. So I think let's move to the presentation part. So Arun brother.
And today's case presentation by Sister Mimosa. Hello, sister. Are you there?
Yes.
You are ready?
Yeah. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mimosa Rao, and I'm a nursing staff working in Makunda Christian Leprosy and General Hospital. And today I'm going to present on nursing care, basic nursing care. Next slide, please. Yeah, so my patient age is years old, female. She is diagnosed with primary APLA, antiphospholipid antibody syndrome. She came on 11/4, presenting complaints with left-sided weakness of head and face, and she has urinary incontinence. She had history of stroke in 2019 and went to Shillong Hospital in Meghalaya, and she was diagnosed with vesiculitis there and not on treatment. So when she came, and we have done the examination, and at that time of admission, her GCS was 10/15. Verbally, she was not able to speak. Pupils were bilateral equal and reacting. For muscle power, upper limb, right side, she has 5/5, but left side, as she was present with left side weakness, left side upper limb was 0/5, and right side upper limb was 5/5, and left side lower limb was 4/5. Face deviated to right side. The treatment and the next slide, please. Treatment and the significant investment.
Sister Mimosa?
Yes.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. Treatment and the significant investigations done for her is ANA, PAS, DNA, antibiotic IgM, EEG is done, RA factor has been done, and PT INR is done. PAT INR is report is still awaited, and CT brain also has been done for her. Psychological aspects, we will see patient is married for 1 year, but after knowing the sickness of the patient, husband has abandoned her, and she has 4 sisters, all are married, and one younger brother who is working as an auto driver, and he is only one person who is taking of her sister, and nobody else is coming to see her, and they are and now brother is not, they have no source of income, and the hospital is taking care of the patient with food and with medications. So patient is on tablet acetrom 1 mg via NG tube OD, and tablet phenytoin 100 mg via NG tube OD, tablet mycophenolate 500 mg BD, and injection heparin 5000 units acute Q6RD. So main concern for the patient relative is patient needs, the basic needs that has to be taken care, because he is a younger brother and he has to take care of the patient, and her nutritional needs, she is on Ryle's tube, and she is not able to speak, only she can express her emotions crying, and she has the relationship problem also, her husband left her. So summary of the patient: 32-year female, only stroke and vasculitis, diagnosed with primapla, complaints of leg weakness and urinary incontinence, admitted to rule out the illness of the patient, investigations done, and the patient is bedridden and needs complete care. So my discussion points are: how to teach patient relative, as he is the only one to take care of the patient and he has to work also once he go back home. How can we reach out for financial support as patient needs full-term treatment? Thank you. Now we can move on to the discussion points. First discussion point is how to teach patient relative, as he is the only one to take care of the patient.
So let's discuss about this, as Sister Mimosa ma'am said. So how we will teach the caregiver to take care of the patient? So either you can unmute yourself and talk, or you can chat. Answers.
Answers from the participants.
Okay. Let him assist when nurses give care to the patient. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you, Sister Diana. Any more points? Okay, teach him how to give NG feeding. Okay, Sister Mimosa, the patient was having NG feeding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She is on NG feed.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's also a good point. Okay. Any more points? Any more suggestions from other nurses? I think he need counseling, as well as to get confident with providing care. Okay. Then care provided is based on assessment need. Okay. Teach him importance of position change. Okay. Teach the patient first and supervise him providing care. Okay. All the points are very relevant, and yes, all these are very important, and you can even give some counseling to the caregiver. Then what else? Okay, step by step approach as per patient need. Okay, good. Thank you for all the relevant points. Patients and families and carers have access to local and network the service to meet their needs. Okay. Through NGOs, etc. Okay, okay, got it. So Sister Mimosa,
Yes, ma'am.
is this patient is still there in your hospital or she
Yes,
discharged?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. She is still here.
Okay.
After PT INR report, we are planning to discharge her with medications.
Okay. So can you kindly tell us about what are all the things you had taken from your end to uh, like to teach the patient relative, that is that brother?
We are telling her to him to do physiotherapy, like passive exercises, so that she will not develop DVT, and also positioning Q2 early. And as because he is a male and the elder sister is there, so we are not able to tell her about the perineal care, him about the perineal care and the importance of that. And also he is very attached with the patient, so he's at most he is taking care of the patient, NG feeds and all. He will be assisting that. So we have taught that much to the patient till now.
Okay. So sister, there is one more question from Dikshida ma'am. Is the patient is hemiplegic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, she had a history of stroke, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all these points are very relevant, and some other points we can include in this condition. You can explain the disease condition, and you can discuss the problems with the caregiver, and also you can tell about the after effects, or there are some life threatening complication if the patient is having this condition. So you can tell that there the patient can even go to the second stroke if they are not properly on follow up or taking medication. And even as you said, the complications of DVT, even pulmonary embolism, and there are some lifestyle changes the patient should focus on. You can tell the caregiver about the importance of exercise, as you mentioned, sister, and
Yes,
also
ma'am.
to maintain a healthy weight. If the patient is getting obese, means again there will be more fat production, and that will lead to again some complication. And then I think the patient is not on smoking or other bad habit. If the
No, no,
patient
no.
goes male, means you can also, if the patient is having a history of smoking, means you can tell them to stop smoking also. And a regular exercise, and to reduce food like food containing more sugar and fat. So you can educate all these points to the caregiver. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the patient and caregiver is very much attached, means there won't be very difficult situation in while giving care also. And also involve the patient caregiver while you are taking any major decisions. uh, that will help us to give a proper care to the patient also. Okay, so that's all about the first point. So, is there any other suggestions from the participants? Okay, also counseling encourage and teaching the patient for self-care and providing rehabilitation. That way she can use the part of the limbs that functions will, which ultimately develops confidence on the patient. Okay, that's also suggestible point. Is there any other points? Or else can we move to the next? Sister Mimosa?
Yes, ma'am, sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Second point is how can we reach out for financial support as patient needs full-term treatment? It's because he has worked as an auto driver, as now he has no support as such, and member supporting them. So they have no family, and he has to work also, and at the same time he has to care for his sister also. So it's a difficult task for him too, and he is not married yet. So how can we help in such situation for that?
So for this point, how we will be managing it, or what we will suggest? Any answers? So I will repeat the. Okay, no need, I think. For now, our hospital will give charity as needed. Okay, that's great. Government schemes like Ayushman Card. Okay. Uh, any other?
For as staying in hospital, they don't need anything because we are providing everything for them, food and
Free.
lodging, and also medications free. Everything we have given free. So Diana is already activated, but they go from hospital, how they can manage the situation.
Okay, sister. So after the discharge also, will you provide the same kind of support to the patient or till the hospitalization?
Our scheme is still the hospitalization until the
Okay,
discharge. Yeah.
okay. So, okay, okay, disability card. Yeah, patient had a stroke. Okay, charity from social service, government schemes like Ayushman card. Okay, all these points are relevant. And Sister Mimosa, all
Yes,
the
ma'am.
as you mentioned, all the things are done. Or is there any extra? Did you done for the patient? Like, is there any other help you did you done for the patient?
No, for right now, because patient is in the hospital, so we have not done anything else.
Okay, okay.
Sister Mimosa, is there any special policy or package for this kind of patients in Assam?
We have Ayushman. This one but for time being, it is not working.
Sister, I
Ayushman
I
card
have
in
one
our
suggestion. I think for Assam government, there is an that is Assam Arogya Nidhi. That kind of policy is there.
Okay, sorry.
Please check with it. I think the government will provide 10,000 rupees per month. Something like that policy is there.
Oh, it's come under AAA. So, Sister Parvati Sandhu, what is AAA? Triple
Sister Parvati, are you there? Sister Parvati?
Parvati, ma'am. Uh, Okay, some other suggestions are you can find out a donor for the patient, and the donor is willing means you can from that money you can uh, give some food kit, or even you can arrange some food kit from other. There will be many people who are willing to give even such kind of things to provisions to the patients. And if the caregiver is not able to go for his usual auto or driving means, because of the caregiving. Okay. So, so you can suggest for any vocation rehabilitation, whatever is the patient caregiver is like he likes, you can suggest that. And main thing is, if somebody is there to give them or some kind of donation or some kind of donor, you can check for that. And you can even approach some NGOs who do like who take after the patient completely, and that will be a great help for the family also. So these are the main thing. And uh, there are some more issues with the patient, I think. So in the main concerns, yeah, in the main concerns, patient is having some nutrition needs, patient daily need, and not able to speak and express her feelings, that emotions through crying. And relationship problem, of course, she is married and her husband, uh, like they are separated, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so uh, okay, so okay, Parvati ma'am, no worries. Oh, Atal Amrit Abhiyan. Okay, so the AAA is expansion is there. Okay, so Sister Mimosa, do you had any session with the patient, like the psychological aspects? Did you had some counseling sessions with the patient?
No, for me, I haven't done yet. And but we have sisters to
Sister,
do the counseling and
okay. So, like whatever you said was not clear. There is some network issue, I think, on your end. So, can you please put it in the chat box? So, here are some more answers. Okay, national programs for palliative care only with the brother. Okay. So, what is only with the brother?
Sister Diana, can you elaborate what you mean by only with the brother?
Oh, hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm in the psychiatry department.
Okay.
So we counsel the brother.
Oh,
But since he was not able to talk and such, so we didn't approach, we didn't counsel. We just used to go and touch her and pet her sometimes, the sister, no? But counseling was given to the brother.
okay. That's really great.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so such a Mimosa and Diana, that was really a good point. You had at least done counseling for the brother, and you came to know about his insight, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so are you have a plan to counsel the patient also?
we just talk with the patient because only the thing what she can understand what we are speaking, but only she cannot reply. So
Okay,
yes, ma'am. So
understood.
I think, yes, ma'am, we can counsel her also.
Okay, okay. So she's having some speech related problems. So Sister Asmita is suggesting about speech therapy. That's a wonderful suggestion. If if there is a speech therapist available in your hospital, you can consult her also. Are you doing any kind of such therapy?
No, ma'am, we don't have for
Okay.
now in our hospital.
Okay. So what about the physiotherapy part? Like
Yes, ma'am. That we are doing
that.
physiotherapy.
Great, great. Okay. So I think you can like if she can write, I think the patient need to ventilate her feelings. So is she able to write?
One upper limb she is able to move, so I think we can allow her to write. She can write.
Okay. So if she is willing, if she want to write and express her feeling also, you can suggest that also. And I think the most is you can give her some gentle touch, and maybe she may feeling alone, or she may be thinking that I am an overburden for my brother. Maybe there will be a lot of kind of thought process going on her mind. So you can like you can support her, you can tell her, like you can tell some story if her mind is okay, and if she's in a good mood means you can uh, give some good thoughts. If she love to listen music means you can play it, like these kind of therapies can help the patient to overcome many problems. And if she love to read books, is she having any blurred vision or some kind of vision problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. So in this condition, some people might have double vision and all. So that's why I asked.
Okay.
Okay. So you're doing a great thing for the family, and we are happy about that. And I think kindly, as Arun brother suggested, you can kindly see that uh, that kind of schemes availability, so that will be helpful to the whole family and the brother also.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. And if possible, do one more counseling session with the patient, not patient, brother, and if needed.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So
Thank you, ma'am.
that's all about today's session. If you have any doubt, please ask in the Echo group, that is WhatsApp group. Okay. Thank you for listening me. Okay. All right. Stay safe all.
Okay, thank you, Sister Aina.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sister Mimosa. It's the time to wind up the
Yes,
session.
sure.
Okay, we already shared the feedback. Please do it now. Okay, it's a request.
Okay, sir.